After about 27 weeks of leakers guessing when Super Mario 3D All-Stars would be revealed, Nintendo finally confirmed it with a Mario 35th Anniversary Direct. And not only that, but there's also plenty of other cool Mario stuff on the way as well, like Game & Watches that come with the original Super Mario Bros. And for whatever reason, the Japanese version of Super Mario Bros. 2 that nobody liked. Plus, there's also going to be a port of Super Mario 3D World with extra content, Super Mario All-Stars for the Super Nintendo's online catalog, a Super Mario Bros. Battle Royale, among many other things, but for some reason, a lot of these goodies are only going to be available for a limited time, giving us yet another example where Nintendo decided to leave money on the table. And even though I think Nintendo's silly for making a lot of these things limited edition, I do think that I at least understand their logic behind it. So sit back in your Uncle Ricky's YouTube viewing chair, press the subscribe button if you haven't already, and allow me, the world's strongest two-armed man, Cameron all one word, to tell you why Nintendo's limiting 35th anniversary Mario content and why they're silly for doing so. Alright, so while I think Nintendo may be silly for limiting Super Mario 3D All-Stars and Super Mario Bros. 35, I'm not saying that nothing should ever be limited. In fact, sometimes I actually think it's pretty cool for things that aren't necessarily essential to have limited runs, like the new Game & Watches, for example. And even though pretty much any Mario fan would definitely consider 3D All-Stars to be a must-own title, it's not exactly something that's gonna end up defining the Switch. But even so, I still don't think that Nintendo should have made it limited, although if you think about it, pretty much any video game that's ever been made is technically limited edition. But I guess what I'm obviously trying to say is that 3D All-Star should be readily available till the Switch's last breath, and the fact that it's not gonna be just tells me that Nintendo really doesn't have a whole lot in store for 2020's holiday season, so I guess they figured they need to do everything in their power to get as much out of these ports as possible till they can start releasing brand new software. If you've been enough of a sexy beast to have been watching my videos lately, then you'd know that I think it's possible that Nintendo's consciously holding off on releasing new software until Switch hardware is more readily available. But even if that's true, and I'm not saying that it is, it's not like they could have gotten away with releasing nothing in the holiday season outside of Pikmin 3 Deluxe, so I'm really not surprised that Nintendo's using legacy content as flex tape to stall for time while they either stockpile on or finish newer games up. And despite the fact that these leakers were wrong like 87 times, I never really doubted that 3D All-Stars would become a thing. I'm just surprised that they're only going to be selling it for 6 months is all. But even though I absolutely think that 3D All-Stars deserves more of a life, I can't deny that Nintendo's legacy content certainly has a lot more value than a company like Sega who makes a new compilation every 20 minutes or so that probably never even make as much combined money as the few times where Nintendo actually capitalized on their retro libraries. I know it can be frustrating that Nintendo doesn't give us ways to play their older games as often as we'd like them to, but at the same time, not whoring legacy content out kinda does make people want it way more, which is why something as simple as 3 old Mario games can feel so special. And besides, limited edition legacy content has in fact been proven to be capable of bailing Nintendo out of rainy day situations in the past, like when the Wii U was duking the carpet and the Classic Edition consoles were keeping Nintendo afloat, and it was also pretty cool to get Game Boy Advance games on the 3DS as a bonus for being an early adopter. And seeing as how Nintendo consciously chose not to sell Game Boy Advance games on the 3DS after that, even though they could have, proves that for better or worse, they're actively trying to keep their legacy content special. Plus, even though 3D All-Stars may be limited right now, Nintendo could always just extend the deadline if it's making them enough money, or re-release it again sometime in the future, whether it be on the Switch or whatever the Switch's successor ends up being. Man, I don't know about you, but I don't believe for 1 second that this is gonna be the last time Nintendo's ever gonna release these 3 games, but even so, Switch owners are still gonna want it long after March of 2021, so rather than letting resellers flip these games for more than $60 on eBay, Nintendo could just keep selling it for $60 themselves, or to put more money in their pockets while also saving the fanbase money at the same time. But even beyond trying to sweeten the pot for the 2020 holiday season, I'd imagine that once Nintendo's able to produce new Switch hardware to where anybody could just buy one whenever they want, they'd probably prefer that casual consumers don't get confused over which Mario games are new and which ones are just ports of games from like 20 years ago. But with Switches being hard to come by in 2020, that problem doesn't really exist since most Switch owners have had the console for a while now. So in that sense, I actually think Nintendo's pretty smart for releasing games that shouldn't be relied on to move hardware, but that fans still really want at the same time. But even though I do kinda understand Nintendo not wanting 3D All-Stars to take steam away from Mario Odyssey down the line, I still think they should at least sell the game exclusively on their website or digitally or something like that, just so the prices don't get out of hand in the aftermarket. But be that as it may, I can't think of one good reason on earth why Nintendo would want to keep the Super Mario Bros. 35 Battle Royale as a limited release. Man, aside from playing Smash and Splatoon online, the Switch's online service is kind of a barren wasteland. Sure, it is kinda nice to get NES and Super Nintendo games every now and then, and Tetris 99's pretty cool too, but Super Mario Bros. 35 brings a lot of value to the service, so I don't know why Nintendo wouldn't just leave it there, cause otherwise, why the hell would they go through all the trouble of making it in the first place? I mean, granted, it probably didn't take them that much effort to make, but still, unlike 3D All-Stars or Classic Edition consoles, there's not going to be any other way to play Mario 35 once Nintendo yanks it out of our grubby little paws forever, since it's only going to be playable online. I mean, it's not like you could just download it during the launch window and keep it forever, so it kind of makes me not want to waste any time getting into it in the first place. Maybe I shouldn't complain since it's pretty much going to be free anyway, but I don't know, it just feels kind of weird since it's not even going to have physical copies or anything like that anyway, so I just can't understand a reason to make it even more limited than online games normally are. Hopefully this limited run ends up being some kind of a free trial or something like that so people can keep playing it if they end up enjoying it, but regardless of all this limited edition malarkey, I'm still pretty excited about all these upcoming goodies. I mean, I'm probably not going to buy 3D World again unless Bowser's Fury adds a lot of extra content, but that's just because I've already 100%ed the original with all 5 characters for some reason. But even though I'm not going to buy it, I'm still happy that all the people who missed out on the Wii U are going to get a chance to play it. And even though some people are upset that the games on 3D All-Stars are more or less just copy and pasted with no real upgrades, I personally don't have a problem with it, but I go into way more detail on that in a video I made about why Super Mario games don't need remakes. But anyway, what do you think about the fact that some of these Mario games are only going to be available for a limited time? You think it's smart of Nintendo to try and save some older titles for rainy days, or do you think they're leaving money on the table by not letting us just play them? Either way, let me know what you think in the comments below, and as always, I'll try my goddamnedest to respond to everybody at some point. But let me tell you, if there's 2 people who are always going to be special regardless of whether or not they're limited edition, then it would definitely be today's patrons of the day, Alyssa, EasyVet, and John Polish Impossible to Say. If you want to be badasses like these 2, then consider supporting FU Game Crew on Patreon for loot boxes and silly rewards in the mail. Send pictures or videos of you rocking merch if you want to make cameos in my videos, and follow me on Twitch if you ever want to hang out whenever I play video games sometimes. My name's Cameron, all one word, and I'll see you next time.
So I want to say thank you to your loyalty, thank you for your support.